So live images coming to you. Interesting bit there about the Raj Bhavan building. I hope we'll get some external images also in just a moment. But as you can see on stage, the Bihar governor, Fagu Chauhan, has arrived there. He's on stage right now. The ceremonials are about to begin. So he will be conducting the ceremonials in just a bit. It's the traditional oath-taking ceremony as always. The swearing-in ceremony will begin in just a few minutes from now. There are documents that have to be signed, of course, for official purposes. Let's try and get some sound in from the hall in just a bit.
आगे अब कहाँ है? आगे ब्लॉक हो चुका है।
So Nitish Kumar stands sworn in. The other elements of his new cabinet will be sworn in now, one by one. Many names are already known. It is pretty clear. Some of the others will become clear going forward now.
बिहार राज्य का मुख्यमंत्री सकते हैं। एक विकास दो श्रीमती रेणु देवी, तीन श्री विजय कुमार चौधरी, चार श्री विजेंद्र प्रसाद यादव, पांच श्री अशोक चौधरी, छह श्री मेवालाल चौधरी, सात श्रीमती शीला कुमारी, आठ श्री संतोष कुमार सुमन, नौ श्री मुकेश सहनी। यह राज्यपाल के आदेश से राज्यपाल को प्रधान सचिव आदेश संख्या 2 आदेश आदेश सारणी यहाँ राज्यपाल के आदेश से राज्यपाल को प्रधान सचिव आदेश संख्या दूसरा आदेश व्यापार 2438 विधानसभा करते हुए मुख्यमंत्री की सलाह से निम्नांकित व्यक्तियों को बिहार राज्य का मंत्री एवं मंत्री परिषद का पुनः नियुक्त करते हुए 1 श्री मंगल पांडे, 2 श्री अमरेंद्र प्रताप सिंह, 3 डॉक्टर रामप्रीत पासवान, 4 श्री जीवेश कुमार, 5 श्री राम सूरत कुमार बिहार राज्यपाल के आदेश से राज्यपाल के प्रधान
महामहिम राज्यपाल जी की अनुमति से माननीय तारकिशोर प्रसाद से अनुरोध है वे कृपया शपथ ग्रहण के लिए पधारें।
Let me bring in Dr. Manisha Priyam now, because now the proceedings are fully underway. The elements of the new cabinet have begun to be sworn in now. Dr. Manisha Priyam, the BJP JDU dynamic, how are you expecting to see it manifest, in the cabinet and beyond? I mean, in terms of specifics, how do you see it actually manifest since the relationship has actually changed?
So the first thing that I expect to see is a larger proportion of BJP members on the cabinet itself in comparison to the JDU. So it will be a BJP dominated cabinet. Now 2 deputy chief ministers means that there will not be one point where the chief minister can confer. There would be 2. Now Renu Devi is also, both of them have been picked up from what we saw during the electioneering as phase 2 and phase 3. One has been a member of the Mahila Morcha, the other an important MLA from the Katihar region, and they've
मैं तारकिशोर प्रसाद ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूँ कि जो विषय बिहार राज्य के मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा होगा उसे किसी भी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को तब के सिवाय जबकि ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
Asking you a
माइक से ऊपर आ रहा है, माइक से ऊंचा उठा कर रख दिया
है। Tarkishore, who's taking over now as who's just been sworn in as one of the 2 BJP deputy chief ministers in Bihar. Tarkishore Prasad had spoken to India Today a little earlier, and in fact actually confirmed it before it was announced from anywhere else. So he put out the news by himself. Dr. Manisha Priyam, what can you tell us about Tarkishore Prasad? Was it a surprise choice? How do you look at this decision?
I mean, it's a post-poll decision that has been arrived at. Definitely, to people outside the political arena, definitely a surprise. But within the BJP in Patna, it was very, very clear that after the elections this time around, things would be different. Even going into the polls, the BJP seemed to be on the ascendant while the JDU was facing an anti-incumbency. Now, this seemed like a coalition of opposites to that extent. And the BJP felt that it might have had to pay the price of being in alliance with the JDU, where there was a definite anti-incumbency. Now, the BJP having done comparatively better, far better than the JDU, with larger number of seats back, and the party feeling in the ascendant in the 2019 Lok Sabha and now in the assembly elections, lot of assertion that the BJP must now also assert its own in the arena of coalition politics in Bihar. So Tarkishore Prasad's coming is a definite indicator. The second part is that the BJP was portrayed only as a party of the upper caste. Now that portrayal has been something that the BJP has been able to knock out. I had seen even in the ground that the BJP had made its foray into the OBCs and the EBCs, and the selection of both deputy chief ministers is telling you that the BJP is putting forward an image of what has been known as combination politics, agde pichde ka combination, and you can see therefore that not just its competitor, the JDU, but also the message coming to other states, whether it's West Bengal or even in UP, the message is that the BJP is effectively playing a politics, not just of the Agdas, but a combination politics where the Pichda castes have a lot of representation and a lot of say within the BJP.
Very interesting. I mean, like Dr. Manisha Priyam said, this is not just about Bihar or reflective of the results in Bihar, but in terms of the expanding politics that will have an impact and a resonance in other places, including notably in West Bengal, which goes to the polls in about 6 months from now. All of these are implications. Renu Devi, who is the second Deputy Chief Minister in this new formation, has just been sworn in now. She will be the second Deputy Chief Minister after Tarkishore Prasad, both from the BJP. She's also a 4-time MLA from Betaya, named by Deputy Leader of the BJP Legislature Party. So very important face that you're going to be hearing a lot of and seeing a lot of going forward. Post-poll decisions by the BJP reflective of the new political dynamic within the coalition, within the NDA's performance in this Bihar election. You saw Tarkishore Prasad right before her, and now you see Renu Devi on stage. She's just been sworn in by the governor. I want to bring in Rahul Srivastav on this. The expanding politics, the post-poll decisions by the BJP with these two deputy chief ministers. You touched upon that, Rahul. Tell us a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about the thought process that's gone into the selection of these two leaders. Two deputy chief ministers, prominent face, Sushil Kumar Modi, moved out. These two persons in his place now.
Shiva said earlier that the election and the government formation actually hasn't ended an electoral exercise for the BJP in Bihar.
Yeah.
It has actually started a new beginning for the Bihar BJP. And what one indication is the selection of the people. Now, if you see Mr. Tarkishore, Renu Devi, Prem Kumar and others represent those segments of the society in Bihar which can be called the deprived sections. The BJP is signaling that it is trying to expand its base among the vote banks which have not been traditionally with the BJP, but not with the rivals, but with the alliance partner Nitish Kumar. The BJP is actually moving visibly into that territory. The second very important element in this exercise carried out by the BJP is that it is also removing an old guard of the BJP to make way for what the BJP as a central leadership wants to do in Bihar, and also the entrenched equations in Bihar. Not just Mr. Sushil Modi, Shiv, is likely to be moved to Delhi so that Tarkishore and others can be made more functional and assertive and create new equations with Nitish Kumar and the JDU. But also somebody as senior as Nandkishore Yadav, an old-timer in the BJP, an RSS hand in BJP, part of the Andolan against emergency and others, is likely to be made the Speaker of the Assembly. That means he's being moved out of active politics, but also his seniority is being respected in an alliance which is not very strong as far as the numbers are concerned. It's just a little above the halfway mark. The BJP is putting its senior leader, likely to put in as a senior leader, as a speaker, but is also moving him out of the active political space of the BJP and the JDU equations in the state. That's also a very important election. That's why I say the BJP is virtually starting afresh for a future in which it will not just be a dominant player, but will be the player as far as Bihar politics is concerned.
Very interesting. I mean, it's the dynamic is not subtle. It's a big shift as far as the BJP's ambitions are concerned, and like both of our experts have said, this isn't confined by any stretch of imagination to just Bihar. It goes way beyond the person on your screen, Vijay Kumar Chaudhary, who's just been sworn in, MLA from Sarai Ranjan seat. He beat the RJD's Arvind Kumar Sani, former Bihar Assembly Speaker as well. So all, if you look at the right-hand side of your screen, you can see all the information you require that we're playing as and when a person is taking oath. So all of that information is there very much on your screen right now. Dr. Manisha Priyam, as each person is sworn in right now, I wanted you to expand a little bit, because there's a great deal of interest in how the BJP's ascendancy in Bihar, impacts the other election contests that are coming up. You mentioned West Bengal. There are other big states coming in as well, not just in terms of its dynamic, with the JDU, but its choice of deputy chief ministers, other political decisions that you've been, observing and analyzing. What kind of resonance are they going to have in the larger political contests coming up?
So, you've already seen an important point has been made by Rahul Srivastava ji earlier.
Yes.
That Nandkishore Yadav is going to be taken on as a speaker. So, two of the old-time faces of the BJP, Sushil Kumar Modi and Nandkishore Yadav, are not the people who are going to be leading on behalf of the BJP this innings of coalition. Now, both of them, interestingly, also represented the OBCs, but what the BJP has done this time around is that it's given a chance to new faces and new leadership from on the ground. Now, what happens by doing this is that the party opens up political opportunity for new people. Remember, 4 terms means 20 long years. People who may have started at the age of 50 working with Nitish Kumar may now be close to 70 years, if that's how we look at it. So by giving an opportunity to newer leadership that has been working on the ground, the BJP has mobilized its own cadre, and something that the BJP has been invested in Bihar has been building district level, block level, sub-district level cadres at all points. So this exercise of pushing fresh new faces of people who struggled and protested on the ground, that inducts its cadres and its party at the district and sub-district level with a lot of fresh energy. The second important lesson is that, remember, in this election the left has done very well, and there was a feeling that the BJP is just a party of the upper caste and it's the left that works on the ground. Now the BJP is strongly countering that message by saying that we have a lot of leaders also who worked on the ground. So come West Bengal elections, even a united left will be faced with a messaging that's coming in from the BJP in Bihar as well now, that the BJP also has a solid cadre of new leadership that is being promoted. And in West Bengal, those who anticipate to join the party can expect that the format of leadership promotion in West Bengal in the BJP may be similar to the steps that have already been taken in Bihar. West Bengal is also another state with a lot of landless laborers and a lot of people who are below the poverty line. So very similar profile as far as the grassroots is concerned to Bihar, a lot of landlessness. So I would feel that the whole messaging about political opportunity to underclass and backward caste, that's going to be an important message, and new political opportunity being opened up, that's very, very important. The party will be reigning supreme.
Yes.
The party will not be a bureaucratized government. In Bihar, there was a lot of opposition to Afsarshahi, bureaucratism. I think the next steps to be seen are whether the BJP is asserting itself on that front also. But as far as political leadership of the party in Bihar is concerned, very clear messages that new opportunities, backward castes and classes, and from the ground, bottom-up approaches are more welcome as far as the BJP in Bihar is concerned.
Very, very clearly put, Dr. Manisha Priyam. I think, for all of our viewers who are looking precisely for the kind of what the decisions taken over the last few days are going to, what kind of impact they're going to have on the upcoming elections. You've encapsulated that really beautifully. Format of leadership selection. West Bengal is one state that everybody is going to have their eyes on, considering that the tone has already been set both by the Prime Minister as well as the Union Home Minister who was there a few days ago. Bengal is something that the Prime Minister dwelled upon after the Bihar victory speech as well. So West Bengal is something everyone's going to have their eyes on. But the big focus, of course, today is the body language, the selection of the cabinet. That's Ashok Kumar Chaudhary, you see, who's just taken oath. He's an MLA from the Sakra seat. He beat the Congress's Umesh Kumar by a big margin. Umesh Kumar Ram, he's an ex-minister in the Bihar government and working president of the JDU. So JDU elements also being, of course, as expected, inducted into this cabinet. All of that information on your screen. So if you're curious to know who the person is who's taking oath, look to the right-hand side of your screen and you will know who they are, which party they're from, what they were right before this swearing in, and what their possible role is going to be in Nitish 7.0. So we're about halfway through this Nitish Kumar's fourth straight term as Chief Minister of Bihar has now officially begun. He was sworn in just minutes ago for the 7th time at the Governor's house in Patna. These are images of Nitish Kumar taking his oath. Home Minister Amit Shah and BJP President JP Nadda are present at the oath-taking ceremony at the Raj Bhavan. But opposition parties, including Tejasvi Yadav's RJD, the Congress and the CPI-ML, have skipped this oath-taking ceremony as a sign of protest. The swearing-in of other ministers in the Nitish cabinet is currently underway.
तब तक सिवाय जब ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के समय निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो, मैं प्रत्यक्ष या अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संशोधित या प्रकट नहीं करूँगा।
Minister who has just taken oath from the HAM. He's the son of ex-Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi. He's a member of the Legislative Council. He's taken oath as well at this point of time. I want to bring in Rahul Srivastava, our National Affairs Editor. Rahul, we're well past the halfway mark as far as this swearing-in is concerned. What are the first few weeks of this government going to look like, Rahul? I know I'm continuously harping on the dynamic having changed, and that, of course, is the big story in the Bihar election victory. How is that going to manifest after this government is formed, going forward, the relationship?
Shiv, one important element is that in Bihar, as per the provisions, in a 243-member house, the government can have actually nearly 37 ministers in the council, including the chief minister. So if 14 odd, 15 odd are taking oath today, there will be a large number of people still to be inducted. And I think that exercise will take a certain amount of time. So I think Nitish Kumar and the BJP will get into a lot of arithmetics, caste, demographic, also I think newer talent being brought in, women representation. A lot of these equations will be considered before the entire council of ministers is brought in. So a matter of curiosity will definitely be that how many seats does the BJP get as far as the full council is concerned compared to Nitish Kumar, who has far lesser numbers than the BJP. Then the second exercise which will be of interest will be that the long pending expansion of the Council of Ministers in Delhi. We are sitting near the Prime Minister's office and the Rajpath. It's a long awaited exercise. Jyotiraditya Scindia has passed the entrance test as far as after joining the BJP. How will he be inducted? What portfolio will he get? Remember that after 2017, when Nitish Kumar joined back the NDA, dumping the Mahagathbandhan, there was a question that whether Nitish Kumar men will join the Council of Ministers, and he was not very happy with being offered one seat. So now that his numbers are diminished, who will be the man from JDU in the Prime Minister Modi's council, and how many seats will it get will be a question. Remember, there is a situation right now in the Council of Ministers in Delhi, Shiv, that there is only one member from the NDA alliance partners who is part of the Prime Minister's Council of Ministers, and that is RPI's Ramdas Athawale. So will more alliance partners be brought in, and what will be the role of the JDU? I think the next big task for this government will be creating a common working agenda. This government has come in, I think, on a very shaky wicket. It's not a very strong verdict. So the migrant issues, the development issues, because Nitish Kumar may have actually scraped through with the BJP's help, with Prime Minister Modi's development image actually pushing the fortunes of the JDU. But the development card of Nitish Kumar since 2017 has been really lacking. And I think that's what they will like to build on. A lot of promises have been made in the run-up to this election when Prime Minister talked about the double engine ki gadi. Double engine means Delhi ruled by BJP and Nitish Kumar ruling Bihar. I think that double engine gadi will be really tested as far as the Bihar populace is concerned, because this time around what one noticed that it is the caste blocks which were working as far as the BJP and JDU, but somewhere the people of Bihar hurt by the migration, 40 lakh people moving to Bihar back from the places of work, and the second migration happening within 6 months back to places of work. People were questioning not just the availability of jobs, but also the quality of jobs in Bihar. I think this government will be severely, from day one, tested on that double engine theory mooted by the Prime Minister and Nitish Kumar. And I think that agenda not just needs to be created, but signaled very strongly to the people. Otherwise, 2024 Lok Sabha elections will be a very uphill task for the JDU and the BJP combined.
Okay, interesting. The 2024 Lok Sabha elections also have to be kept in view, even though it's a few years away, because that's how it rolls. You know, politics is not a compartmentalized process. It's continuous. There are many things coming ahead. Big election year, and then the Lok Sabha elections as well. The oath-taking ceremony continues, ladies and gentlemen. Rampreet Paswan of the BJP, MLA from Rajnagar. He beat the RJD's Ram Avatar Paswan, is taking oath at this point of time. There are others who will be taking oath in just a bit. Mangal Pandey of the BJP, member of the Legislative Council, taking oath at this point of time. All ministers in this new formation of Nitish 7.0. I want to go across to India Today's Rohit Singh, who's on the ground in the Raj Bhavan in Patna, reporting live. Rohit, we had a sense of what this cabinet was going to look like, going pretty much to plan, as we had expected, Rohit.
Yes, absolutely, Shiv. We had said that there will be 15 person who will be taking oath today, including the Chief Minister. So after today, two Deputy Chief Ministers, Tarkishore and Prasad and Renu Devi have been sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister. And as I speak at this point of time, Mangal Pandey, who has been a former, in fact, a health minister in the last government, he is also being sworn in here by money. And altogether there will be 6 ministers, including Nitish Kumar from the JDU quota, 7 from the BJP, 1 from Hindustani Awam Morcha and 1 from the VIP. And both Hindustani Awam Morcha representative Santosh Manji, he has taken his oath, and VIP Supremo Mukesh Sahni has also taken oath. So all the constituent partners of NDA are getting representation in this first phase of oath-taking ceremony, which is going on here at the Raj Bhavan.
Okay, so India Today's illustration of what the cabinet, Nitish 7.0 cabinet, was going to look like. pretty much playing out as we had told you. 15 members, the number of JDU and the number of BJP also turning out to be pretty accurate as the oath-taking ceremony actually continues at this point of time at the Raj Bhavan. Let's try and get some sound in from the Raj Bhavan right now.
मैं हट जाता हूँ बस मैं बाबू हट जाता हूँ आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैं मेरे सबसे अपने कष्ट उठाया तकलीफ होता है
ये अकरम जरा मैं बैठ पकड़ लीजिए ना गजब करते हैं कहाँ तक स्थिति है ऊपर से मेरे हो जाएगा बताइए ना बार बार आ रहा है किसी का
See on your screen is Amarendra Pratap Singh of the BJP. He is MLA from the Ara seat. He beat the CPI ML's SQ Ansari. He's a former deputy speaker in the Bihar Assembly as well. So he's another BJP leader who has currently been sworn in. The oath-taking ceremony is in its last phase at this point of time. Very quickly, we will get a picture of what the full cabinet will be looking like, and we'll be bringing that to you in just a moment. So this is the oath-taking ceremony that's still currently on. The governor on stage. That's the paperwork and all the ceremonials that will be complete. The cameras out front aren't showing you who's seated in the front row right now, but I can tell you that Home Minister Amit Shah, the Deputy, the BJP President JP Nadda and others are all present there at this point of time. As you can see on stage as well, Renu Devi, Tarkishore Prasad, along with Chief Minister Nitish Kumar on stage there to the right of the stage. You can see them seated there. Those are the top three of this new government that is about to be formed. They've already been sworn in first, and now the cabinet continues to be sworn in at this time at the Raj Bhavan.
हम डॉक्टर रामकृष्ण पासवान ईश्वर शपथ लेते ही विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत संविधान प्रति शांत सभा निष्ठा रख हम भारत कविता व अखंडता संतुलन रख हम बिहार राज्य मंत्री के रूप में
You know, the BJP factor in this entire election, the fact that they're on the ascendancy, you know, one thing that a lot of people have been curious about, and this has been a matter of a lot of media coverage over the years, there has been controversy, there has been bitterness, there has been reconciliation. Dr. Manisha Priyam, the Nitish Kumar, Narendra Modi relationship, you know, it has weathered some pretty big storms in the past. What is it like right now in your view?
I think the Nitish Kumar Narendra Modi relationship professionally and politically is at its best. Notwithstanding the U-turns that have been seen in this relationship in the past,
yes,
especially with Mr. Nitish Kumar refusing to share the stage and backing out of a coalition in the 2015 elections. The BJP led by Narendra Modi announced that the Nitish Kumar government would be sworn in once again with Nitish Kumar as the face of the Chief Minister, went to election, kept that promise, notwithstanding lot of assertion on the ground, a lot of us in the media, a lot of academics and analysts like us felt that the coalition should have gone in for a leadership change. But that's something that Prime Minister has been able to keep his word on. Not only that, during the electioneering, I saw that it were mainly the Prime Minister's rallies that were attracting a lot of crowd, and the Prime Minister allowed Nitish Kumar to expand on his development plank. A lot of his own rallies of Nitish Kumar, he was able to perceive for himself the groundswell of anger. So this has been a lease of life literally lent to the Nitish Kumar government by a BJP led by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And to that extent, I would say that politically it's a very solidified relationship at this point of time.
Okay, it's a solidified relationship both politically and personally at this point of time. Manisha Priyam saying that this is a relationship that is currently at its best. There have been some barbs coming in on social media as well. Chirag Paswan, for instance, tweeted right when this oath-taking ceremony was about to begin. He tweeted basically wishing Nitish Kumar the very best for his chief ministership, and also sort of cheekily saying that he hopes that Nitish Kumar will finish his term as chief minister of an NDA dispensation. Obviously a sarcastic jibe at Nitish Kumar. The words and the tone of Chirag Paswan have been very clear right through this entire campaign. It has been anti-Nitish, and there you have it. So from the sidelines, you're getting those attacks as well. Jivesh Mishra of the BJP now being sworn in now. On your screens is Jivesh Mishra of the BJP. He's the MLA from Darbhanga. He beat the Congress's Mashkoor Ahmed and is now being sworn in to the Nitish cabinet. So another prominent face coming in for Nitish 7.0, this one from the BJP. Quick side comment from Rahul Srivastav on this. Rahul, the dust has settled as far as the results are concerned. Government is being formed in Bihar. Wonder what you thought of Nitish Kumar, of Chirag Paswan's jibe on social media at Nitish Kumar, coming right at the time that he was taking oath.
Shiv, I think Chirag Paswan took a gamble, and I think somewhere he was either misled, because somewhere what he didn't realize that the BJP was depending on Nitish Kumar for a much bigger future innings than what dealing with somebody throwing a political tantrum like Chirag Paswan. See, the Chirag Paswan was wanting to carve out a niche for himself. His father was not well when the election exercise started, and he did not have a working equation with Nitish Kumar. And remember also, Nitish Kumar is not a very uncomplicated man. He is a very sharp politician. He was edging out Chirag Paswan and Ramvilas Paswan's party, the LJP. Chirag Paswan took a gamble, and it has failed. If he had brought in numbers, then he would have had a political say. Despite the sad death of his father, a noted political leader, as far as Bihar is concerned. But somehow that did not generate that sympathetic traction that Chirag Paswan was hoping for. Now it's going to be a very difficult battle for Chirag Paswan, because Nitish is not going to allow him space in Bihar. And after having broken away publicly from NDA, the NDA leadership, including BJP leadership, including the party president, saying that he's a vote katwa or a vote cutter, it will be very difficult for him. So right now, I think he is left in a no man's land politically as far as Bihar is concerned, because Tejasvi Yadav, who does not want to create an alternate leadership or a challenger, may not like to join hands with Chirag Paswan, or may relegate him to a very nominal place as far as Bihar politics if an alliance happens. So I think Chirag Paswan has to reinvent himself. When you were talking about that political rivalry between Nitish and Modi, I think that's a very interesting element. I think it will decide the future course of BJP and JDU alliance, and also the BJP's future. Remember, Shiv, that in 2013, when Nitish Kumar broke away in the name of Modi,
yes,
it was already a rivalry. Rivalry which started sometime in 2009, when Nitish Kumar's hand, Modi caught hold of Nitish Kumar's hand at a rally staged by the NDA, hosted by the Akali Dal, which was an ally at that time. and it was a very reluctant hand-holding by Nitish Kumar. But in 2010, there was a dinner hosted by Chief Minister Nitish Kumar for BJP leaders who were there for a national executive, and some posters and advertisement appeared in newspapers depicting both of them holding hands, and Modi saying, telling public of Bihar that he has given 5 crore for the Kosi floods. Nitish Kumar cancelled that dinner. It was an embarrassment for the NDA, embarrassment for the BJP, and severely for Narendra Modi. And from there started a rivalry when in 2013 Nitish Kumar was presented as an alternative challenger for the left and the centrist forces in India as an alternate prime minister. Today when he took oath, Shiv, Mr. Nitish Kumar has given up the national ambitions once and for all. I think that rivalry has reached a milestone, but if you say the rivalry is over, I will not say so, because Prime Minister Narendra Modi, if one knows him, will take the BJP to the point where the BJP can survive without Nitish Kumar. So the rivalry lives, but definitely Nitish Kumar in the rivalry stands diminished.
Okay, the rivalry, his ranking in that rivalry stands diminished on the back of this election result. Just re-upping what Chirag Paswan has just said, I wanted to break that for our viewers so we can show you that tweet, because Chirag Paswan, who had been hoping to become some kind of a kingmaker during this election and had created a very bitter anti-Nitish campaign right through this Bihar effort, has now tweeted just as the oath-taking ceremony was starting. Chirag Paswan tweeted, taking a dig again at Nitish Kumar, saying, "Congratulations, respected Nitish Kumar, for becoming the Chief Minister again. I hope the government will complete its tenure and you will continue to be the Chief Minister of the NDA." So very specifically taking a dig at Nitish Kumar, and this can be interpreted as a taunt on Nitish Kumar as well. Sarcasm dripping from that tweet from Chirag Paswan. Okay, want to get Dr. Manisha Priyam in on this as well. Dr. Priyam, some barbs coming in on social media. Is this surprising? We've heard Chirag Paswan speak about Nitish Kumar before as well, and now this tweet saying, "I hope you'll be Chief Minister of the NDA for your full term."
I mean, Chirag Paswan at this point of time, clearly I would say, the innings have been quite disappointing. Politically, he may have had implicit support from the BJP, despite the fact that he fought so many seats in the elections. His electoral performance and showing has not been great, except for the fact that he got onto his bandwagon those discontent elements of the BJP, even senior leaders like Rajendra Singh or Usha Vidyarthi, who had not been able to find tickets of the BJP. Chirag Paswan opened an opportunity for them. Chirag Paswan opened the diatribes against Nitish Kumar, and at that point of time, his party, his father's party, so to say, was still within the fold of the NDA. Now, he's played that political game. He must also notice, however, that the BJP also has fledgling leadership from amongst the Paswan community within its fold. One of the ministers has taken oath. There are other prominent people who've been promoted by the BJP. So if Nitish Kumar has been able to be checkmated by the BJP, and that is how it should be, politics is about political competition, Chirag is a relatively small player, given the fact that his father, stalwart leader Ramvilas Paswan, socialist legacy, very, very important leader in Bihar, he is no longer there. For Chirag, this would be a tough political moment. I would say right now tweeting this an act of political immaturity. Both he and also Tejaswi, who's not attending the oath ceremony right now. I think oath taking is a moment of government formation for the state of Bihar. It is a moment of consensus, political consensus. The people of Bihar need a government. It is not at this point of time an act of electioneering, and both of them should have shown greater maturity. Definitely Chirag Paswan, at this point of time should have shown greater maturity. And if something that Prime Minister Modi said in his Karyakarta Dhanyavad rally at the BJP headquarters after the results, he said he does not like diners. and both of them, beware, are people who claim to inherit the legacy of their fathers.
Indeed.
And run political parties that have been set up on the political acumen, the political stamina, and the political personality of their fathers. So I would see that these steps will not take Chirag very far in his political calculations, and certainly inappropriate at this point of time when things should have headed towards political consensus making and towards giving the people of Bihar a government.
Not political consensus making, political immaturity, says Dr. Manisha Priyam. Very interesting on that tweet by Chirag Paswan. Dr. Priyam, thank you very much for joining us on our coverage. The oath-taking ceremony continues even now. Rahul Srivastav continues to stay with me. Very quick break here on 5 Live. On the other side, from the government formation in Bihar to the big churn in the Congress party, which scored a dud in the Bihar elections and has drawn all kinds of fire, not just from the RJD, but from within as well. The big churn in the big grand old party coming up next.